up, guys? This is Ray. Welcome to Asian Filmist, and today we're going to be talking about the 2018 Japanese film Hardcore, directed by Yamashita Nobuhiro and starring Yamada Takayuki and Satoh Takeru. And from what I understand, this movie is based off of a manga. I'm not sure if this manga has been adapted into anime, but from what I understand, the backstory with this movie is that while Yamashita was directing another movie, I think a staffer who was a fan of the hardcore manga presented it to Yamashita, and he read it and instantly fell in love with it and decided he needed to make an adaptation for it. At least I read that somewhere. I'm not sure how accurate that story is, but I think the end result, it was quite an interesting experience. I feel like Hardcore was one of the more interesting pieces I've seen this year, and I actually caught it at the movie theater. And what convinced me to watch it in the movie theater was, well, I think the way the posters were designed was interesting. And plus, I love Yamada Takayuki. He's one of the actors I usually try to catch all movies of, and as well as Satoh Takeru. So the story of Hardcore, it's about this character by the name of Ukon, who's played by Yamada Takayuki. And he's kind of an outsider. He's kind of a social outcast. And he doesn't get along with people. As a matter of fact, he only has one friend in the whole entire world, and that is Ushiyama. And Ushiyama, he's played in this movie by Arakawa Yoshiyoshi. And they both were kind of like this part-time on-call gig digging treasure in the mountains for this far-rightist activist. I forget exactly what he is. And one day, Ushiyama, well, first of all, he's kind of a homeless dude who lives in an abandoned factory. And inside this abandoned factory, he discovers a robot. And it turns out the robot, well, first of all, they don't know where it's from. It's just laying there. But they activate it, they wake it up, and it turns out to be a sentient robot of sorts. So these three form this kind of tight-knit clique. And they make their way through this society, which is periodically against them. And then one day, Ukon's younger brother, Sakon, who's played by Satoh Takeru, he gets this brilliant idea on how to make a lot of money using the robot as help. As far as the positives I have to say about Hardcore, well, you know, first of all, the characters and the performances I definitely enjoyed. I think Ukon, the main character, is definitely someone that's easy to connect with and sympathize with. I mean, both Ukon and Ushiyama, they live outside the margins of society, if you will, both figuratively and literally. They kind of live in shambles. As I mentioned, Ushiyama lives in this abandoned factory, and Ukon's not that well off himself. He lives in this really messy one-room apartment. And you know, he reacts to situations violently, a lot of which his younger brother Sakon has to bail him out of. And then you have Ushiyama, who doesn't speak much. It's almost to the point that you would think he's mute, but he's not. He speaks in whispers almost, but also you can tell there's something mentally wrong, mentally ill with him. And you know, the way Ushiyama and Ukon just bond together. I think outside of Sakon, Ushiyama is the only character that Ukon has a normal human relationship with. And, you know, he loves him as a friend so much that he tries to get him laid in this one hilarious scene, which goes as wacky and wrong as you can expect in this setting. And then you have the robot, who they name Robo. And I think the effects they use to bring him to life, it's not CG, although they do use CG in this movie, but they use the same kind of technique you would use to make tokusatsu monsters come to life. And there's even a character who comments about it. They think he's like this drunk salaryman, and he thinks that they're shooting some kind of tokusatsu action show, and then he just kind of walks on by. And Ukon and Ushiyama, they try to dress him up in normal human clothes so that way he can just go about the world and walk around with them. But of course, it's as weird and funny as, you know, if you take a look at any of the posters or images from Hardcore, it's as awkward as that, but it's entertaining as all hell. And there's definitely a lot more to Robo-O than what they initially introduced. You get to know a little bit more as the story goes on, but at the same time, it feels like they left a lot of information up for your imagination. And all the characters are well-rounded and comedic and entertaining in certain moments. I mean, it's not goofy just for the sake of being goofy. And that being said, this movie features a lot of dark comedy and black humor. If you're into that kind of stuff, you know, there are a lot of moments where you'll laugh, but you'll kind of feel awkward for laughing. And this movie features a lot of violent and sexual content. I mean, first of all, you have Ukon just reacting violently to everything, and there's even a scene later on in the movie where he, Ushiyama, and Robo get into this kind of tango with these gangsters at this karaoke bar. And with the sexual content, eventually you meet Tayoko, who's the daughter of the foreman of this group that hires Ushiyama and Ukon to dig for treasure. Taeko seduces Ukon. Again, they have a lot of steamy moments together, and a lot of which I gotta admit might have made me into an Ishibashi Kei fan, the actress who played Taeko. But this led to all sorts of hilarious situations with Ukon and the foreman when they're sitting down and talking. As far as the negatives I have to say about hardcore, well, at times it can be a bit slow, and you just want the story to just pick up. And at the same time, I think the way they used Robo-O was kind of weird. Like you get introduced to him in the towards the early part of the story, and you think he'd be a major player in the story, but throughout the majority of the middle of the movie, he kind of takes a back seat and just in the background for certain scenes. He's there, you see, but it doesn't really do anything, and people don't really do anything with him. He's just kind of there, and then towards the end, once again, he makes a return to the spotlight and takes the front seat. But I thought, I felt that I felt kind of misled because I thought that Robo would have a bigger part in the overall story, not just in the beginning and the end. But overall, what do I have to say about hardcore? I absolutely loved it. It had a ton of awkward and comedic moments, and the characters were surprisingly realistic. I mean, it's outsiders looking inwards into society and reacting accordingly. And I think what surprised me the most is that, if you watch the trailer, you would expect a kind of sci-fi buddy kind of movie to happen, but this movie features a whole lot more. It definitely has all the sci-fi and buddy stuff, but there's a lot of commentary on society and just people and how detached some people can get embedded into this movie. And I think it definitely is well-rounded because of that. So I definitely recommend this movie to watch, especially if you're a fan of movies loaded with dark humor. Yeah, but yes, those are my thoughts on hardcore. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you really dig my content, please know you can support Asian Films via Patreon from as little as $1. And yeah, that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope to catch you all again in the next video. Take it easy.